why he left the city was no mystery. Starting as a postman, he soon became a doorman. He enjoyed his job and kept on top. For 15 years he worked, thoughtful and dedicated. In the blink of an eye, he left the door he once guarded. To put it bluntly, to why he'd left in a hurry, he'd finally taken his job personally. A man of a few words, he was used to the typical problem of drunkards. Boys chasing girls caused the odd problem with lovebirds. On a regular basis, the doorman would deal with alcohol-induced aggression. They'd have it under control before it could worsen. With ownership changeover, the club grew bigger then. He was proud to be made head doorman. It didn't take long before the club's growth began, extending the club, knocking into the pub next door, pulling in twice the amount of punters than before. They'd come from around town by the carload, and off the high road by the coachload, from the crossroads by the trainload. All weekend from 10 p.m. Friday to 5 a.m. Sunday, the club was banging. A revamped mainstream dance venue with headlining DJs to go clubbing. Bassline thumping. Outside, growing numbers were queuing. On his team he kept the cheerful, rooting out the cruel and dreadful. The team he ran was entirely respectful. What was hard to believe was how little trouble. This extended club was even more peaceful. To the world of drugs, they remained naive. When pills were offered to the off-duty barmaid named Eve, they pulled him aside and found 10 Mickey Mouse pills up his sleeve. After flushing the gear, they made him leave. Cokeheads and the E-generation was a growing trend, with no sign of end. A popular way for punters to spend the weekend. As he went for his weekly breakfast at the cafe, it didn't seem odd when the large-framed guy sat opposite that day. As the man cordially speaks, he knows the club where he works. He has a business proposition and lays out the networks. He begins to feel uneasy. He knows the man is connected largely. Armani threads, heavy gold chain, and a Rolex ticking precisely. Among other things, on his neck the tattoo was an obvious clue. The man knew about his kids' wife and nephews. He knew about the gym he trained and his house, the car he shared with his spouse, and his children's school next to the courthouse. He already knew too much to embrace. As sweat poured out, his heart began to race. He replaced intimidation with his bold face. He wanted to pick himself up, but felt out of place. He knew he couldn't react as he would on the door, not in this case. The reality of this was hitting him like a baseball bat across the face. The business deal was simple. The cash he would receive was ample. The task of knowing and letting dealers in seemed dreadful. He would carry the gear in to avoid the doorman searching, then hand over the gear to the associates in the club for distributing. The $2,000 a week wasn't even tempting. The man left and got in his shiny black car. The phone rang after a quarter of an hour. The man said the operation would start in a week, no later. He sent his family off to his parents, preferring to deal with this in their absence. He was unsure what to do, with nowhere to turn for guidance.